Hello, a very good morning to you. Welcome to Good Morning East Africa right here at CBA TV Studios. My name is Wangui and today we have a very important guest who came all the way from Kenya just to be in this show. His name is Dr. Professor Haron Mwangi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Wangui.
You know, you're the most intelligent man I've ever met.
Really? That's humbling.
Yes, it is.
But I thank God. I thank God for it. It is humbling, but it's all God doing.
We are so glad you're here.
Thank you.
You made time to come all the way from Kenya to be here in Hargeisa, particularly here at this show, Good Morning East Africa. And I understand in Kenya you've been like in the media industry for so long, like you are the CEO of the Media Council of Kenya, right?
Right. Well, not for so many years because I served in the Media Council for 6 years.
Wow.
But before then, I was practicing communication and public relations in financial institutions. I did that in Post Bank in Kenya. I did that in Agricultural Finance Corporation of Kenya. And therefore, I would say that the core, activities or involvement in the media came 6 years ago, 7 years ago, and at MCK as a regulator, and then of course again as a lecturer of media and communication in various universities in Kenya. Yes.
So, like, what would you say about media in general? Is it a good career? Is it something you would advise a young person to pursue?
Yeah, media is interesting because you not imagine a society without media.
Yes.
You'd wake up one day and you have no phone, you cannot make a call, you cannot listen to radio, you cannot watch news. Basically, it would be a world that is full of darkness.
True.
And therefore, media is part and parcel of our lives. And mediating information is empowering people. Mediating information is informing people. Mediating information is entertaining people. Therefore, communication is part and parcel of our lives. So if you want to be part and parcel of a society's life, media is the way to go.
That's right.
You're right.
Actually, people say that media is now like a basic need. Like everybody wants to know what's happening around them. Because it also tells, like, are you safe? You want to know what other people are doing around the world so that you can also do it or maybe do it differently.
You're right.
Like media is like the mirror of the society.
Absolutely, because media helps in interpreting the happenings within our society. It helps in conveying information that is important, in answering some basic questions about our own lives. It helps in basically interacting people and putting people together to determine their own agenda, peace, livelihood, security.
Yes.
It is really the way to mediate life, so to speak. So it is very pertinent institution in our society. Yes.
So before we go to like what's the role of media in the society,
yes,
I would like to know, like, if you did not do media as a career, what else would you have done?
I would have done media.
Still media?
I would have done media.
So you love
media? I love media because it is it's a way of life. And that it all depends with what you do with the knowledge in media. Because whether you're in politics, whether you are in health services, whether you're in engineering, whether you're in environmental science, whether you are in economics, media is cross-cutting.
It's true.
And it is very pertinent. So you need communication in every aspect of our society. Therefore, when I have done media, I am able to understand the concepts, the issues in other professions, and I'm able to communicate because the whole business of professional development in our society is to help people. And how do you help people? By communicating to people about the issues that are coming from various areas of our profession, of our practice. So for me, I would say that if I never studied media, I would have studied media at the same time.
Wow.
So it's media for me.
So you're in the right place.
I'm in the right profession, I'm in the right career, you're right.
Cool.
Yes.
So what is the role of media in the society? Because people say that media is like the sword of democracy.
Yes.
It's true.
Yes. Well, it is, but there is what we call the normative roles of the media, which is entertainment, which is information, which is the education, and so forth. But today we've gone beyond the normative.
Yeah.
To play the role of interpretation of issues about our lives, about mediating issues to do with our lives and the lives of our society. And therefore, it is a way of looking at how societies could coexist because of the many dynamics that are happening within our own environment. These dynamics must be mediated through media and through communication processes.
True.
And therefore, communication has become the core of social existence and coexistence of people in societies.
Yeah.
And therefore, we need to look at media beyond the traditional and the normative role, to look at media as a core function within the social core existence. And therefore, we look at media in terms of peace, we look at media in terms of development, we look at peace in terms of conflict resolution, we look at peace in terms of empowerment, we look at media in terms of all aspects of our lives. Therefore, media has gone beyond the normative to look at media as a central institution within the existence of our societies.
That's true.
Yes.
Well, nowadays, media is changing. You know,
Yes.
we used to have the traditional ways of broadcasting and
You're right.
giving out information.
Yeah.
Like you have the print media, the electronic media. Now you have social media.
Yeah, right.
So what's the future of media? Like, where are we going to?
Media that is going to resist the dynamics of the environment is going to be left behind. Actually, it's going to die. Already we have seen print media in many countries,
Yes.
in Europe, in
Actually,
Australia,
that's true, yeah.
in South Africa, completely shutting down
Yes.
and closing doors and going home because they have been very resistant
Yeah.
to change and to accommodate the new technology. The future of media and the media that is going to survive going forward is that media that is going to embrace the new technology, is a media that is going to operate within the confines of the global dynamics of technology. Any media that is going to resist change and to accommodate the influence of the new technology is not going to be functional. And because people are ahead of media. By the time you give me news, by the time I read the news, by the time I watch,
Yeah.
already I have the information
On the phone.
on my phone.
Yes.
So the issue is that you're going to even to change the role of the media. The media's role would be one, to interpret issues and to give background and details information about issues.
Yeah.
Number two, the role of the media would be verification and verification and verification, giving people the new perspective, the truth, the research, so that we also deal with the issues of fake news. So
Yeah.
media dynamics is changing. One, it has also to survive as
Yes.
media, because media is one, a social institution, a political institution, but at the same time it's business institution. You don't just go in media because you love people
Yeah.
and you love media. You go as an investor in media because you want to make money.
Yes.
But how do you balance the issues of making money and the issues of mediating pertinent issues in our society?
Yeah.
The public interest role of the media. So that balancing together with the ecology, taking care of the ecology of media because of technology is very pertinent. Media future belongs to those institutions that embrace new technology. Yes.
Do you see a time maybe in future generations,
Yes.
when our children, like the children of our children, will be hearing of newspapers like it's something that is so historical, and they'll be going to the museum to see how a newspaper used to look like, or maybe books? Do you think that one day they'll be extinct?
The answer could be yes and no. Number one is that as media is dying in some other parts of the world, media is still growing and surviving and even increasing circulation in some other parts of the world. Look at the countries like Sweden, where the government in affirmation supports media. Print media. It supports in terms of circulation, it supports in terms of even paying salaries, it supports in terms of new technology. There is a specific budget set aside by the government of Sweden to support the print media, for example. Print media is not going to die so soon.
Yeah.
People started predicting the death of print media over quarter century ago. 25 years ago, people started predicting the death of media, of print media particularly. But it hasn't died. It is still persisting and surviving in many countries.
Do people still have a reading culture?
People still read. In Europe, many people read. And the old people have no business with phones. They still believe in something that they can catch, something they can touch, something that they can use to be able to feel, and something that has some kind of shelf value. So I'm not going to categorically say that media is going to die in the next quarter of a century.
Yes.
Because we see people revisiting the old. We never know whether the people are going to revisit the old.
Probably they will.
Supposedly they will. So possibly it is not categorically possible to say it is. But the most important thing is to accommodate the dynamics of the new technology. Yes.
Like we need to embrace change, but at the same time we need to value the old.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm surprised that Sweden is really in support of media.
Yes.
Well, in most East African countries, for example, in Somalia, we find journalists, like being a journalist in Somalia is the most difficult career you can ever choose because they're killed every now and then. We see journalists being detained. Like, what would you say about, like, is there media freedom in East Africa?
In countries like Europe, they cherish two important things. Number one is they cherish democracy. And they know that democracy can only exist when freedom of expression and freedom of the media are assured. They are constitutional provisions. Those are not just provisions, they are values. Democracy is value. Is a value in Europe. And freedom of expression is more than a requirement in law, it's a value. Therefore, they know that you can only be able to mediate democracy. You can only be able to mediate democratic principles through media. And therefore, it's a value that they have existed with for the last 600, 700 years ago. It's a node principle. And that's why they're able to protect media. In countries like Somalia and other countries in Africa, we have not valued freedom of expression.
Yeah.
Because if you value freedom of expression, then you must protect the means of communication.
Yes.
And that is why, because we don't respect that, Somalia has become one of the most difficult and dangerous places for journalists to work on earth.
Yeah, it is.
The most difficult. And countries like Turkey, which has the largest number of journalist prisoners in the world. Those are countries that do not respect principles of democracy, principles of self-expression, freedom of expression, principles of the media. And therefore, it is important that this wave of change, people allowed to express themselves, is embraced by democracies and societies over the world. Otherwise, some countries will be isolated from the global systems. And that is why now Somalia becomes isolated because of that restriction. And that's why there is war. And media is not used as a way of mediating democracy, peace values, and so forth. So, media and peace, democracy and peace, freedom of expression and peace, media freedom and peace are very salient and need to be respected.
True.
Yes.
Well, I've seen Donald Trump. You know, Donald Trump is one of the people who keep saying fake news. You know, he's known for that word.
Yes.
Fake news. What is making fake news to be more cherished than the real news? Because you'll find that people will discuss more on fake news, like let's say if it's in social media, you'll find fake news gets more comments than normal news that is true. Why?
More often than not, that people may not even know whether they are commenting on fake news. When something is sent to me on Facebook or on WhatsApp, I just automatically touch a button and I send to thousands and friends out there. Sometimes I may not even know whether it is fake news. I don't even have the ability to verify. I don't have even the opportunity to verify whether it is fake or not. So one, it is not that people sometimes know that they are spreading fake news, but it is because of the easiness at which we can be able to communicate that we spread information. That's number one. Number two, there are certain people who would use that weakness to spread inciting information for their own purposes, to spread falsehood for their own political or economic ends, for their own reasons. And therefore, there are few who will take advantage of the nature of citizen journalism. Because with this phone, I can take a picture of an event, I can do a video of an event, I can edit that event, I have not verified, I have not done any background, and then I post it.
And it gets to millions and
millions of people. So sometimes we may not know it is fake news. But now the problem is that media has been caught in a trap. Instead of now getting back and saying, no, this is news that has come through social media, how do you verify? The work of media in 21st century is verification. We are not interested. We know the news already. We have it. Friends have sent us news. So the biggest responsibility of media today is verification, verification, verification.
Very true.
Yes.
Do you think social media should be regulated?
It's a debate globally. It's becoming very difficult to regulate the way of life because today social media is a way of life.
Yeah.
So when you say that you want to regulate social media, you are regulating the ways of life, which is very difficult.
Yeah.
And you are also touching on freedom of expression, which is very difficult. It's not very easy to regulate World Wide Web. It will become very difficult. Many countries in Europe, because of terrorism and related issues in the society, are putting laws together to be able to try and do the regulation. But there's an outcry all over the world.
Yeah.
In Kenya, we had some laws, that the cybercrime laws, which are common now in many countries in Africa and Europe, but it is becoming increasingly difficult. So what I would say is that the best way of dealing with this is public literacy on media issues.
Yeah.
Is public literacy on information communication, so that people are aware to consume content responsibly.
True.
But not, restricting the communication. So responsible consumption of content, for me, is the most important way of dealing with social media. Yes.
Well, indeed, you're a media expert,
Yes.
and I'm sure our audience would want to ask you so many questions.
Yes.
So maybe you can give them your Facebook and Instagram or Twitter accounts names so that they can reach out to you.
So I would give them my telephone number is +254 0725 478 and 021. And then of course the Twitter account is at Haron Mwangi 12. They can reach me through those accounts.
Well, so far, what would you say about Hargeisa? What's the feeling like? Is it what you were expecting to find? Did you expect to see a desert?
Of course, I had a general understanding geographically. The location of this particular country is the northeastern of Africa. And therefore, I had a general knowledge that it is a dry place. That was not new. That was not unexpected. It was expected. But what I didn't expect is a very peaceful country where you can walk freely without fear, without looking at your back. And you would get very friendly people.
Yes.
They are not terrorists. And of course, now given the Somali and the Kenya's presence in Somali, we had the whole issues of think about terrorism. It's a very peaceful country. And I kept on wondering how a country like this, neighboring Somalia, would be a peaceful country. It is amazing how this country is solid.
Yeah.
It is able to contain itself and security. And it has all the character of a state.
Yes,
so for me,
is.
I even wonder why the national community will not think about recognizing this country as an autonomous state like any other. So it's amazing that there are countries in this world that are so free, that are so well organized, that have taken the form of a state, but they're not recognized globally. I think it is the time for international to really consider the position of Somaliland as a country.
Do you love the food? And the
yes,
culture.
but I love the culture. I love the food. There's too much meat, but basically it was good. It was good food. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much for.
Yes.
Actually, I'm glad you love Hargeisa, and I love that you're feeling secure and safe in this country.
Right.
And of course, we would love to have you once again. You're always welcome to CBA TV. And that's the end of our show. We hope that when you go back to Kenya, you'll tell people about CBA TV and the beauty of Hargeisa and the peace in the country.
Absolutely.
Thank you, and have a wonderful day. And to you, our audience, also have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much.